What key challenges arise when switching a primary domain in Google Workspace, and how can disruptions be minimized? This is a tough question because this is something I leave to my team, but I'll give you a brief rundown on this. So if you want to change primary domain names in Google Workspace, the process is pretty simple. The implications are a little bit funny, and I'll try and take you through most of them now. The short version of this is, for a couple of $100, my team will help coordinate this for you. Head to our website, go to the quick fix menu and choose change domain. And let me tell you, it's easier to have someone who's done it 10 times and knows how to solve the quirky things that can happen sometime, rather than doing it yourself. Because let's face it, things go wrong sometimes and you don't know what's going to happen. But if you've got a support team there who have done this a million times, it's usually best they get their help to do it. But that disclaimer said, let me show you the actual process and I'll help you out with how to do it. So you manage your domain names inside the Google admin panel. You go to admin.google.com and that's where you can set all of your different domain names. So inside our admin panel, we go to account and then domains, and then manage domains. And you can see here there's a number of different domains that we've had added to our test account here. And when you're switching from a primary to a new domain, you'll want to ideally add them as an add-on domain or a secondary domain. Now, you can see here that you've actually got a few different options here. When I click change primary domain, it gives me a warning. It's going to let me continue. And I can actually search and use pretty much any one of my domains. But my recommendation is, in most cases, you actually want to use an add-on domain or a secondary domain, they're now called, rather than an alias domain. See, you can do this with an alias domain, but an alias domain will move everybody in one hit. And particularly if you're a larger business, like if you've got more than 10 people in the business, you might not necessarily want to move every single person over immediately. You might want to do a small pilot test group. You might want to check one user or a couple of users first and kind of see what happens. And then if something goes wrong, you might want to revert just a couple of users rather than having 10 or 20 or 100 staff, depending on how big your business is. You might not want to do that with absolutely everyone in one hit. So my recommendation is to use a secondary domain. Now, if you've got your current domain set up as an alias domain and you want to migrate it to a secondary domain, all you can do is delete it and re-add it. But you've got to do that quickly because emails will stop the moment you delete it and re-add it. Now, when you delete it from this menu, you should be able to instantly re-add it back from an alias to a secondary domain. That should be fine. Be ready with your DNS just in case it doesn't work. You might have to re-verify it, but in most cases, it stays verified and you can just immediately re-add the domain. So that's first step. Ideally, you want to have secondary domain to switch to rather than having it configured as an alias domain. Remember that if you change an alias domain to a secondary domain, you're going to have to go and re-add everyone's email addresses manually so it works. So be mindful that if you're doing this phased approach and you convert an alias domain to a secondary domain, you want to make sure that everyone's secondary emails still get added. So all their extra aliases and stuff like that, you've got to go and add, you've got to go into each user and do that manually. Bit of a pain, but if you want to be very, very careful with this, that's the most careful way of doing it. Okay, so the next step, if you're doing a phased approach and you're moving people one by one, is to individually move their accounts from one domain to another. And that's pretty straightforward. So I'm going to go into my directory, and inside directory, I'll go to the user menu, find my own user as an example here. All right. And once I'm in the user menu, I want to update user, and then I can choose to change the primary domain of this user. Now, let's say I want to change from testgenius.co to hotgenius.com. We used to have a company called HostGenius, so I guess HotGenius is a test domain of that. Okay, so two important things happen. Pretty much immediately, my primary email address is going to change here, meaning that I have to log in with that new email address anytime I'm logging in. Now, sometimes your devices will be fine, your browser history will be fine, and it's no issue at all, right? So if let's say I go to gmail.com, let's see if it signs me in or it asks me. No, it's fine, okay? And it's already changed my email address to hotgenius.com.au. Nothing's gone wrong, right? But every now and again, you will get kicked out of this account and you'll need to re-authenticate. If you've used that account to connect to a printer, to connect to your phone, Apple email, maybe your Gmail app and your calendar app on your phone might need to be re-authenticated. If you've used it to sign into Android, you may need to redo your backups or your settings or re-authenticate on the phone sign-in, right? There's lots of things where this can kind of go a bit wonky because many systems, even though they use single sign-on, which is an authenticated sign-on with this account, they may not be prepared for the actual underlying account to change. So just be ready for some screwy things to happen, even with your Google logins, let alone your other logins, which I'll come back to. So immediately this account has been changed, which is great. And the second thing that happens immediately is an alias is automatically configured. This is the one time where Google does the alias for you. So people can now use peter@testgenius.co, which was my original domain, as an alternate email address. I'll show you where that appears in a moment, but heed this warning. Peter may not be able to use Google Chat for up to 3 days. That's one of the potential issues. You'll see updates within 10 minutes. Generally, they happen pretty much immediately, depending on how many users you're changing at the same time. Now, if I click onto user information here, it's going to show me a list of all of my aliases or alternate email addresses, it now calls them. And you'll see here, it's automatically created the alias for testgenius.co. This was the original email that I had, test@reseller.itgenius.com.au. It's a bit of a mouthful domain name, but both of these are set as aliases. So they will immediately work after I've changed that domain name. And as you set each one of these and you test them one by one, you test the users one by one, you make sure things work, you make sure your users are signing in, or your staff are signing in to their new accounts okay, and everyone's phone's still working, great, awesome. Only then would you go to your domains menu, manage domains, and then you would change into the secondary domain, which changes it for the whole account. Now, that can cause some other problems in itself. If you've got Google Sites connected to your account, anything that like uses potentially a URL, that can mess with things. Some of the apps like Chat are a bit screwy for a while. I've seen logos that were saved disappear. Weird stuff can happen. We don't always know what will happen, but weird stuff can happen. So be mindful of that. There's a Google Help Guide somewhere that details all the things that might actually go wrong or all the things that might actually change. But at this point, you can change that. Now, keep in mind, the final step for this is usually everyone dealing with all of the third-party SaaS apps that they've connected to that they now may or may not still be able to access. Here's the problem. If you use an app like Asana, and I'm going to open up I'm in a new tab, so that's perfect. Great. So I go to my normal app, I go to my login screen, and on any other day, I would click continue with Google, and I would go ahead and sign in to this account. The only problem now being, it's the same account, but a different email address. And Asana, or any other app that you're expecting to use, is expecting your old email address. So therefore, it's not going to work. Or even worse, it's going to create a second account with your new email address. Here's the problem. If you click the wrong button just by mistake, because you haven't done this process and you don't know for sure that you've got the new email account linked in to your SaaS app that you're trying to access, you end up with two accounts. And then when you realize, oh shit, no, actually, I've got to take the old account and rename it to the new email address. That's the correct way of doing things. You can't do it because now you've got a second account, which is empty, using the new email address. So if you bugger it up and you sign in with this new email account, you've then got to sign back into this account. You've got to change the email address on this account to something random and different. Then you've got to go back to the login screen of your app. And so that means going back to Asana. And on the Asana home screen, you say your email address, right? And in this case, I'm going to use my itGenius one because it's actually got a valid account there. And you need to do a password reset, which will generate a password for you so you can log into this old email address with your email. Remember, it's an alias, so it will still work. I'm getting very technical here. And then the new email address that you've changed to, you're going to take the old account and you're going to change the login email to the new email. And then the final step is we're going to go back to this screen. And finally, then you can use the Google login with your brand new email address. Now, not only do you have to do that for every one of your accounts, your staff have to do that for every one of their accounts. And you've got to make sure that they don't go and sign in with their new account, with the Google sign-in, create a duplicate account in apps like Asana or Airbnb or Canva or Fathom Note Taker. You might start racking up bills for all the new users that are created that are double ups of the old users that were there. In some of these accounts, they will even lock you down by domain. So we have an Asana Enterprise account and we say, hey, we only want domains from itGenius, right? So if someone goes and signs up with their new account, it creates a whole new organization. And we end up with this rogue organization in our SaaS app because someone's used a new domain for that app.
If you need more help with what we've covered in this video, itGenius provides support services to businesses all over the world with problems just like this. Click the link below to get started.